computer. All right, I think we are recording now. Sorry, that took way too long for me to figure out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I think that my screen is sharing. Can I get a verbal thumbs up from Hannah or a verbal thumbs up? Just the thumbs up will work.
You are sharing.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about AnchorLink and specifically going over the roster tool for organizations. But before we get into that, I'm going to do a quick introduction. My name is Braylon Jr. I serve as the data analyst for student affairs, or one of the data analysts for student affairs, and I primarily do a lot of work around AnchorLink, the platform, and I will let Hannah introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah. I am the graduate assistant working on AnchorLink and data analytics.
Awesome. So today we're going to, like I said, talking about the roster. But before we get into that, I wanted to give you all a quick tutorial about how to navigate the site. So for many of you that were here last year, AnchorLink has changed quite a bit. And so I want to go over the new navigation and then we'll get into the roster. So as you can see up at the top left, we now have a menu button, and this allows you to pull out a navigation screen that really centralizes a lot of the commands that used to be several clicks deep into AnchorLink. Before, these menu options used to sit across the top, but now that has been replaced by this search field up here. And so you can get in the search and type anything. So if I type AnchorLink, you'll see that not just organizations or news, but events all pop up in this one place. And so that is really cool, a new feature that should help a lot of people in getting to what they need. But like I said, that menu search thing that used to be across the top is now on the side. So anytime that you need to look for events or organizations, they're over here. And then under that, you have your organizations that you are a part of that allow you to then click this little gear and then get into the manage tools that you used to have to click manage to get to. Before, it is now a lot quicker to get to these things. Now, many of you were probably used to going to the top right to get to those things. That has now been replaced by a notification center. I've got a lot of notifications because I am all over the place in AnchorLink, but your notifications will be a lot more specific to you. And then this inbox here will be anything that you are flagged in the system on. So if you are flagged on forms or registrations, budget stuff, events, all those things will now be in your inbox, which is located up here. And then of course, you can click on your face to get to all of these things that used to be in the user drawer. But that is just a quick walkthrough of how to navigate through the system. Again, if you have questions about that stuff, you can always email AnchorLink at anchorlink@vanderbilt.edu, and that'll take you straight to us, and then we can help you from there. But today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the roster. And so to get to your organization's roster, you'll click the menu button up here at the top left. That'll pull out this drawer. And then from here, you'll click on the gear of the organization you are trying to manage. I'm going to be doing a lot of things in the AnchorLink page today. And so I click the gear there. And this allows me to click the roster here. And it looks like our internet connection is great today. As you can see, there are only 2 members of the AnchorLink page, which allows us to do all the experimenting without impacting other people. It'll just be me and Hannah in here. So we'll be doing a lot of the testing with us. The first thing that I will work through with you all is understanding where these things are and what they do. So we'll first look at just a standard member. You can click on a person to view their picture, but then also their email address. This is something that is automatically populated for everyone in AnchorLink. Students have the ability to update some of the information here, but this email address and name always come from the university. And then you have the ability to add a picture if you want. Within that person's row or line, you can also add positions to that person's account. So you could click this little pencil and then add any of the positions. And so for me, I am technically the coach, but I'm also all of these things. And so I can unclick and click and add multiple positions. And then if I add multiple positions and click save, then And if Inkling will work with us. Brief pause while we circle. Wow, we're really struggling today. I'm gonna do a quick refresh. There we go. And so now I am the associate director and assistant dean. Obviously I'm not, but it allows you to add multiple positions or take them away. So I'm going to take them away, and I should not have either of those positions anymore. So that's a quick way to do that. And then if you wanted to end several people's memberships, you could click the box next to their name and allow them to do that. Or if you want to just click one, you are able to do that as well. And then thankfully, if you click in membership, there is a window that pops up to make sure you want it in memberships before you do it. So if you're worried about accidentally ending people, you won't accidentally do it unless you have also clicked in membership here. We also have the ability to end all memberships, but I would really caution people from doing this because it is really difficult to add memberships back if you end up in those shoes. And so the next thing that we'll talk about is this pending versus prospective list. And so if you are a person that is adding people to your organization, you'll actually do inviting up here. So you'll click invite and then put in people's email addresses. And then whenever you put in an email address, those email addresses should pop up right here in the prospective thing. There are no prospective members because I have not invited people to join AnchorLink, but they would. And then I could, of course, send them reminders if they haven't responded to my membership invitation. And then in pending, for those folks that have asked to join, oh, I had that backwards. It is the pending that you could rescind invitations, and then prospective is where you would go to approve and deny people who have requested to join your page. Sorry about that, folks. And so we're back in our current roster. The last thing that I'll mention is that each year, whenever you are updating your roster and say you have a new president, it's always a good idea to not only change the position that that person has, but also make the primary contact the president of that organization. And the way that you would do that is by clicking the pencil button up here, and then I could select Hannah as our primary contact. And so that's a little bit about navigating through this first roster screen. Again, I mentioned you could invite people up here, which can be very helpful. The next thing that I'll mention really quickly is that you can export a roster for whatever reason. So if you need to see everyone, because we don't have many members of the AnchorLink page, I think you can only show 1 to 10 people. But if you've got multiple, so hundreds of people on your roster, you would have to click through several pages to see those rosters or that roster. But thankfully, you have the ability now to export, and that export will give you not just their name and email address and last name, but it'll also give you when they joined and the positions that they have, which can be very helpful. So the next thing that we're going to go over now is creating positions and managing positions. And so if you click this pencil button that's right next to manage positions, you'll go into the manage positions page. And from here, you can look at all the positions that are available for your organization to assign. So if you've got a coach or a president, you can come in here to kind of manage what that position has access to. And so we're going to be working with the coach position. So I click coach, and it takes me into that specific positions page. And so from here, you could do things like change the name of that position. You could change the officer type, which is just going to be member or officer. Members, if you select this, don't show up on the public facing version of your AnchorLink page, and then all of our officer positions do. So if you go to an AnchorLink page and you go look at someone's organization, all of the officer types will show up, but all of the members will not. And then the thing I'll mention here is that you have the ability to select access based off of these 3 things. You can select no access, which means that they don't have access to see anything. all access, which means they see all things, and then limited, which allows them to do, you can do some really customizable things in here. So you can maybe say, I want our finance person to have access to finance, full access to finance, but we don't need them to have access to anything else. I doubt that many of our positions are going to work that way, but you have that flexibility if you want to do that. But I'm going to return the access for coach back to all access. And then you always want to make sure you click save, and that will guarantee that that position's edits that you've made will stay there. You not only have to, or you not only have the ability to edit these positions, you also can add positions. And so if you click plus or positions up here at the top, you'll then be taken to that similar screen, but will now be creating a position. And it looks like you're getting this wheelie. Give us 1 second. Here we go. Perfect. And so now you could, again, name this whatever you wanted to test. If we wanted to show up on the page ranker, that or select member. And we could do any number of customizable things here, which can just be really helpful for people as they're trying to manage their roster. But we're going to go back to the roster because the last thing, which is my favorite thing, is messaging. So AnchorLink now provides people the ability to message people within their organization. So you can see we've got plenty of tests here to make sure that this works out. But essentially, you all have the ability to create your own listservs in AnchorLink. And so we're going to be testing out a listserv today. And so what you'll need to do when you click the plus button at the top right is create a name. So we'll say this is the AnchorLink roster test relay. And then within this relay, you have the ability to either select people based off of their position, or you could select a specific user within your organization. So maybe you wanted to message all of the members of this page. If you select members, you'll see that 2 people are eligible recipients of this relay. Those 2 people are me and Hannah. But maybe you wanted to do presidents, or if you've got multiple presidents, or maybe you've got multiple secretaries, whatever organization structure you've got, you have the ability to send it based off of position, or like I said, you could select specific users within your organization to create a relay. But once you've got your relay, like what's the title of it and who's getting it, you can click create. And that will allow you to have a relay that will last until September 22nd at 1:46 p.m. And that is because that is a 24-hour period. The relays are temporary, which means that they expire after 24 hours. And this is mostly to make sure that the relay stays current, right? So if you've got a roster that changes quite frequently, or you've been adding new people, or maybe you've been removing some folks, this allows for your listserv to stay as updated as possible. And so now what you would do is click copy, or you could highlight this, and then it'll take you to your preferred email client. So if I open up a new tab, and then I'm going to paste that link here, it is not working correctly. So I will have to work on that, but it normally would take you to your preferred email client, and I may not have set my preferred email client up for the demo today, but that's okay. It should be Outlook. For Outlook, it would just take me to a new email, and then I would type out my message there. And then it would send it to these 2 people, me and Hannah. And so that is the relay. You also have the ability to, so this one is mostly sending it to emails, but you have the ability to also text. And so any of our users that have input their phone numbers into the system, you can send an SMS text message as well, which can be really helpful for people who want more mobile options for communicating with their folks. All right, so now we're back at the roster screen. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can see you all's faces, and if there are any questions, we'll do that now. And I'll also pause the recording